And moving on to with this unconstitutional orders, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is something where a lot of people are afraid. Listen, and I know that we have a lot of people here who don't want to get COVID, and so you're not doing Thanksgiving. That's your right.
Yeah.
That is absolutely right. But we've moved from public places to private homes. We've moved, think of how the goalposts have moved. 2 weeks, public places. I don't know when they first said 2 weeks, if they were actually saying the mask at that point. No, when they first started the 2 weeks, they said, don't wear masks. They do more harm than good. That's what Fauci said. But they said 2 weeks, social distancing, flatten the curve.
Right.
And then that extended to several months. And now we have a tally that they keep on CNN like a never-ending ticker with 2 flu seasons, right? 2 flu seasons, and includes any and all deaths with people who die with COVID. And now we've moved the goalpost from, okay, we went 2 weeks, public places, and we went, okay, 2 weeks, now we're shutting down businesses for months. And now we're saying, actually, you cannot, in some of these states, we're going to enforce that you cannot celebrate Thanksgiving in your own home, even if you wear masks, which, by the way, we said didn't work in the largest study we have on masks. Homemade cotton masks from Denmark show that they don't work. Not saying surgical masks don't work in a medical context.
Right.
But the kind of mask that you have that you got off of some Facebook ad that doesn't actually have any kind of a filtration system, you're probably breathing in asbestos.
You know, this one pisses me off the most. I know you're going to get to some details, but this, if you want to tell me, this isn't a great idea for you guys to get together, but do what you want to do because you're a free American citizen.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Right? That's fantastic. If you lock this down, I swear to you, if I lived in a state that did this, I would be in prison right now. You have no authority to tell me who can come to my house and hang out.
Hold on a second. By the way, hit the notification bell. I want you to hit the notification bell if you're subscribed. We do it. We didn't do it yesterday, obviously, but weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. I appreciate the whole you sounded like Dirty Harry just then.
Yeah.
Why would you be in prison, Gerald?
Because I would violate the order and I would publicize it.
Oh, okay.
I would absolutely put 2 middle fingers up to Gavin Newsom if I lived in California with a picture of me and as many people as I could squeeze into whatever freaking small house that I had that cost $1 million in Los Angeles.
You know what makes Gerald really tough right now? It's his Nautica pajamas. You know, if he was wearing anything else, I wouldn't believe him. But,
A little
I'll put a biker
sailboats.
jacket on next time. No, I really, this
Going
pisses
to protest
me off.
the cops in his Madras shorts.
Gerald, you raise a really good point, which is the civil disobedience in any of these types of protests, whether it's the over curfew or whatever these rules are, they naturally involve a decision that a law is unconstitutional or immoral. So we are acknowledging that there's a kind of dissonant ideas there that, you know, typically conservatives are the pro-law and order, except when those laws and that enforced order are unconstitutional and they violate fundamental principles. So the idea of saying, hey, we're going to stay out past the curfew because it's unconstitutional, we're acknowledging that you might be breaking the law as it's stated, but for the purpose of showing not only that you won't be misled by a tyrannical government or follow it, but also setting up the stage to challenge that within the legal system. It's just like when you saw Shelley Luther, is when you see other folks who are saying, we're not going to do it, and they take it to the next level. That's when you get the kind of opinions like a Heller versus D.C., where, again, only by 1 vote. Remember Ted Cruz's book talking about that, right?
Not Helen Keller, we're talking Helen.
Not Helen Keller.
Back to that
Heller
reference.
V. Keller.
She says that a wise man saves for the winter. What? I felt it in her tonsils.
She's never,
brilliant, Helen.
She's never going to catch Batman or the sheriffs that decide that they're not going to follow these rules.
Right. No, I think you're. And actually, so this happened in New York. Sheriffs. So we just saw that in Virginia. Where they said we're not going to enforce the with the mall Santa Mall Association of America. In New York, some sheriffs said, "Hey, we're not going to be going house to house and enforcing Governor Cuomo's Thanksgiving rules." Which, by the way, his suggestions are go house to house and break it up.
Yes. Yeah.
Good luck doing that with the Sharks in West Side Story.
Do we not remember? I thought it was just a couple of weeks ago that we heard the left say defund the police, but now I feel like, we really need to extra fund the police so that they have the ability to go catch all these
Well, it's not the police's job to save businesses from Molotov cocktails, but it is their job to make sure that a guy in a short hat with sideburn curls doesn't see his sister. So the sheriff said they're not going to enforce it, and here's Governor Cuomo, speaking of constitutional. Apparently he's a little murky on the rule book. I think the lead in his barbell nipples have gone to his head, saying that they are not real officers of the law.
I believe that law enforcement officer violates his or her constitutional duty. I don't consider them a law enforcement officer because you don't have the right to pick laws that you think you will enforce, and you don't enforce laws that you don't agree with, right? That's not a law enforcement officer.
See, that's what psychologists call projecting. You don't simply enforce laws because you want those laws, like telling people they can't celebrate Thanksgiving, and not enforce laws because you don't agree with them, like stopping arson.
Yeah. And by the way, I think he's wrong, Bill.
Shit.
You do have the right as a police officer not to enforce an illegal law, an unconstitutional law, right? There may be some ramifications initially.
Of course there can be some ramifications.
Right? Yeah.
But you have a right to do that.
It depends how you're using the word right. I mean, do you have, would you be able to go in and say, I should not have been fired because this thing I did was wrong? Maybe. But in a lot of at-will states, you can get fired for no reason at all. So if you choose to
Which is
do
not
that,
New York.
Right, not New York. But in a lot of different jurisdictions, you may end up having to suffer for this, which is why we need to back the blue regardless, even especially for the ones that may engage in civil disobedience.
I think you need to raise your mic a little bit because we had to adjust it. It's a little bit low.
Tell
you
what,
hit the bar and use the leverage.
You get fired for doing that. You get fired. Come talk to me.
Yeah,
I
will tell you this is where I disagree.
Sure.
I won't back the blue if they go in house to house to separate up Thanksgiving.
No.
I'm gonna have a problem with the blue. I'm gonna have a problem with you because you're not true blue. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Just the individual officers, not overall.
But
officers.
I think we're getting too far off the beam because it starts with, does Governor Cuomo have the authority to let arson continue and deaths and assaults, by the way, also on his officers, and then have the authority to break up Orthodox Jews celebrating a holiday? Nope.
By his own logic, he doesn't.
No, by his own logic, he does not.
By his own logic, the fact that he has let these things continue to happen all summer under the guise of progressive wokeness, he is not the chief law enforcement officer.
There's never been more exemplary governors as it relates to elitism. You know, we always talk, we used to have this sometimes with Sarah Palin, like, those are New York and LA Democrats, so we're all flat. It's like, no, listen, you have all different kinds of people in the United States, but there is this view of the coastal elites. And think about it for a second. You have Cuomo, whose brother has his own television program, which he does not warrant at all, by the way. The only person less qualified is totally straight Brian Stelter, who doesn't want to pay nuisance money to Nick Sandman. So you have a governor in New York whose brother has a show. He had COVID, and he was out and about roughing up guys on their fat tire bicycles and no consequences at all. And then you have Governor Newsom. We go all the way to East Coast, West Coast. It's not a hip-hop battle. It's an affected white elitist prick battle. Well, then they're saying, we're spending $685 a plate at the French Laundry restaurant while we shut everybody else down. You couldn't create more out-of-touch, disingenuous, inconsistent, elitist characters in a film.
No, you wouldn't buy it if the script came. You'd be like, nah, nobody's going to believe that.
Come on, that's a reach. This guy's actually going to try and send cops in to break up Jews celebrating Purim, and then he lets his brother push a guy over on a bicycle? All right, look, put this through rewrites, bring me something Americans can buy.
Could you imagine if we had said, like, imagine there had been some, parody about Gavin Newsom going to French Laundry or some other expensive restaurant and sitting around. People would, that tweet would have been flagged. It would have been false news. Yeah. It would have been defamation. And then, it's true.
It's true. We're disappointed. Yeah, but we're not surprised. And I do want to know, are you celebrating Thanksgiving to people out there? That's another question I have.
Yes.
Who out there is actually celebrating Thanksgiving? If you are, hit like right now as you watch. All the many, many people who watch, just hit like right now if you are going to celebrate Thanksgiving. Because as for me in my house, we'll flip the bird. Here's Governor Whitmer, how the Gretsch stole Christmas.
But she already took Labor Day and July 4th and Thanksgiving.
Probably she just took Labor Day because
she
didn't want traffic because she had to lower her boat.
So
here she is begging with her non-binary signer who's still on hire. And by the way, non-binary Michigan signer, your roots are growing out, sweetheart.
We can see.
Begging people not to celebrate with, this is Governor Whitmer saying, don't celebrate with anyone outside of your household.
I want to talk about Thanksgiving, which is next week.
What?
If you are considering spending Thanksgiving with people outside of your household, I urge you to reconsider.
Urge in one hand.
Why didn't the signer have a mask?
That's true. They didn't even have
I'm so confused.
Here's another one, our favorite Geppetto-in-chief. He's got no strings to hold him down. He's a prick. Fauci, again, telling people, comply, only celebrate with people in your immediate household.
The answer is you've got to use some common sense in the situation that you're in. And I think when most people are asking, you're in the home, the safest thing you can do is to confine the activities in your own home with the immediate occupants of that home.
No.
Is that your response?
That is my
Give me
response.
something, Gerald, because I need to take a drink here.
I was just going to say that it's acting as if safety is the only thing that you only factor in your life.
Right.
Everybody
Exactly.
dies
There's
at some
safety
point.
and there's joy, there's Thanksgiving, there's happiness.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
You've got to do other stuff.
Yeah, you have to be able to live your life, right? I don't know
Right.
if you guys remember, but Clemson and Notre Dame played. Notre Dame beat them. The fans rushed the field, and everybody's like, "Oh, I can't believe it! These people are right next to each other. They're yelling, they're cheering.
Yeah.
There was hundreds and hundreds of them.
having fun. How dare they?"
They have had no COVID cases from that, none. So you're telling me that can happen,
And
but
no
not
one
10
is
people
saying,
in a
and just to be
house.
clear, no one here is saying that COVID doesn't exist. There's
Right.
none of that.
And here's the one thing I would say is
I went
also
to college for this.
about some of the progressive policies. They completely ignore the people that they arguably are trying to protect, right?
Right.
So
Right,
you have
yeah.
a lot of folks who are, because of their own situation, whether they're older, they're immunocompromised, whatever it may be, they still have to pay their bills.
Right.
They still have
Yeah.
to live their lives and do what they need to do. Setting aside the fact that we can do Thanksgiving, which is excellent for us. We're all healthy, young, whatever it may be. Not Gerald, but like the rest of us,
Thanks.
right?
I have
Appreciate that, yeah.
not young people coming over for Thanksgiving, and you know what they said? They said I don't care. I want to celebrate. Look, if
And
not
that's fine,
Thanksgiving
yeah.
and Christmas, put it this way: when people say what's most important,
Yeah.
people say your health. Now I get it, your health, but I don't know. Like when we say your health, it means something severe. Not okay, so your health, but doesn't mean that it negates everything else on the list. It's not all negated by, which is the case for most people with COVID. Or I think I've lost slightly my sense of taste.
Right, yeah.
Oh, go on without me. So I have relatives who said, hey, if not Thanksgiving, if not Christmas, with my children, with my grandchildren, what is worth the 0.1% risk? This
Right,
is it.
yeah.
This is the most joyous time. All of my best memories in my life are with family at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
You're going to sacrifice that for
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, health is not the most important thing. Otherwise, we would all live in a bubble. We don't. Living life is the most important thing
Faith,
for us
family,
to do.
freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom is more important. Family to me is more important. Faith is more important. And health is very important. Again, then that's on a sliding scale. AIDS, pretty bad, unless you're Magic Johnson.
It is bad.
Seasonal flu, worse for you than COVID if you're
Yeah.
young, not as bad if you're older. No one talks about that either, by the way. They have this death toll right now on CNN, 257,000, right? That includes that only 6% of those numbers are people who just had COVID.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying you can say that only 6% of the deaths are from COVID, but I'm saying
Fair.
that number is misleading because people who've shot themselves in the face with a shotgun are listed in
Fell
there,
off a roof.
as well as
Yeah.
people who were driving drunk on a
Yep.
motorcycle.
Saw that one
Yeah.
too.
And that's from 2 seasons. We had a winter
Yeah.
before, and now we're going into another winter, and we're just putting. You don't do that with any other seasonal flu. Any other seasonal, it doesn't happen.
No.
It's only right now. Okay, here's another one, too, by the way. We're talking about Thanksgiving. So, Kate Brown, the Oregon governor, encouraged people to call the police on those who violate lockdown orders for Thanksgiving. Violators could face 30 days in jail or over $1,200 in fines or both. Hey, maybe this is what turns more black people Republican than anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe.
A snitching policy.
Yeah. What happened to that Karen act?
Oh, wait, in a state that was literally the hotbed of do not snitch on rioters.
Right. Do not
exactly,
snitch
yeah.
on rioters.
No,
Just
praise them.
praise them. Just take your raping. We recommend that you get an inflatable donut because sitting's going to hurt for a while, but you're doing it for the greater good. Please do snitch on Poppy and Grandma as they put a turkey in the oven. Let's make sure that we shut that down. By the way, keep in mind, this is the state that just legalized black tar heroin.
Right.
So banging 10-gram rocks. Fine.
Hope it works
Charlie
out for you.
Sheen would be welcomed with open arms while Paula Deen gets her head on a spike. Do you really think that these governors, do you really think that these politicians, do you really think these celebrities are going to actually honor these rules themselves? Do you think they're going to be socially, not let alone celebrating Thanksgiving? And of course, Governor Newsom at French Laundry, which ended up
Right.
being, it wasn't like 12 people, it ended up being 20-something people,
Yeah, it
an
was
average
big.
of $600-something a plate
8
for
courses.
porpoise penis on the half quail egg.
Yeah.
So not even that, but politicians who've been out in the street, you've seen them not social distance. You really think they're going to follow these rules?
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! This is a great day for our country. We get to take our democracy back.
Oh my God, it is! Hey, how you doing? Oh my God, Murphy, you
He's droplet projecting.
He actually
aiming
did
it.
like what's that
Shot
track and
put.
field sport? Yeah, he was actually
Shot
projecting
putting.
his own vomit.
That was Schumer. He's like, hold on a second while I talk. I'm going to have my assistant hold a mini fan.
You know, I would also want to just a quick poll of any of these politicians who are saying that they don't want to gather with people outside of their household on Thursday, but on Wednesday they were gathering in their offices with 100% people not in their household.
I know.
Oh, that's true.
Tell me a story, Mr. Bones.
I think it's the people that want to hang out with them, right? And they're like, I'm going to have like 2 people. Let's just make the rule 2.
Yeah, well, it's because they actually think those people want to hang out with them. Lori Lightfoot, come on.
Nobody.
Nobody wants that.
And by the way, again, if you think these people are serious about canceling Thanksgiving, there's no more perfect example than this Harrison Ford, of course, a known recent leftist, who is flying his private plane, I think you have the story, to go pick up his son after crashing. After crashing, he is flying his own private plane to go pick up his son for Thanksgiving. But by the way, don't get it twisted. That does not mean that Harrison Ford is on board with all aspects of Thanksgiving, as seen by our exclusive footage of this flight.
Get off my plane.
Just the news.
Wow. Joke's on him. It's a bird. He just flew away. Soft landing.
They're flightless, you smartass.
He glided.
That turkey better not glide.
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.